left ear for some reason. So,
All right, get new tips.
okay,
That's
that's what
exactly
I
how we
thought.
wanted to start the stream. Welcome everyone to the y'all do not.
This weekend?
You do. Here's the thing. You do want to know exactly what we were talking about before, but you don't want to. You're not going to. This is full disclosure. We ain't disclosing nothing out here in these streets. Do you hear me? Welcome everybody
What happens in the green room stays
in the green room.
Yes, sir. It's exciting. What's
I
up,
just
family?
want y'all to know today is a fantastic day to be alive. So be grateful that you are here. And this week in live, we are going to be talking about the new and the best live streaming camera ? Because it's a question mark because you never know where or what is going to come out. We got rumors. We're going to talk about some of those. But honestly, just taking a look and at some of the things that are going on, because we want to help you make educated buying decisions for your setup, your stream, your nonprofit, your organization, so that you can reach more people with your message, so we can touch 1 billion lives. That's our goal here at Let's Get Live. I'm here with my business partners and co-hosts for the show, Doc Rock, David the Black Man, the Digital Buddha. How y'all fellas doing today?
Man? Oh, good. Absolutely good, man. It's been a fantastic. I gotta get up. I had to be up at 4:00 a.m. to have some meetings and stuff for Ecamm, and man, it's been a good day. I learned all kind of cool stuff today, so I'm ready. I'm excited.
Ready to go.
I'm in.
Digital
good
Buddha?
too. My day started super early. I was invited to give a talk at a entrepreneurial mastermind. So my day started very early, and it's going awesome too. So yeah,
Nice.
I'm excited to be here.
Nice. Awesome. Well, everyone, this week in live, it is only possible because of our sponsors for the show, which is Let's Get Live. Yes, we self-sponsor our own stuff. And if you don't know, now you know, because we are, she like that. We sponsor thine own self. So thine own self be true. And so we true out here in these streets, because today we have a fantastic announcement. Do one of y'all want to spill the beans, or do we want to go for and let them marinate?
Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that David always be trying to snitch.
So let him actually tell it.
Let him actually snitch this time. He always be trying. Dude, David cannot hold an exciting secret much more than like a 3-year-old can finish a half a big gulp while you're on a road trip. Like he always like, can I tell him now? No, David. Can I tell him now? David? No. Can I tell him now? Okay, now David, you can tell him.
Yeah.
Well, it's only because I've been so busy that I hadn't had time to spill the beans. But Doc is 100% correct. He's telling the truth. He's telling the truth.
Yeah, you can tell him now. You're always excited, so I'm happy that you can finally let it out, because I know it'd be driving you crazy, bro.
Yeah. So over at Let's Get Live, if you have not been to Let's Get Live, that's our website. It's one of the dopest websites on planet Earth. All things live streaming, Ecamm, get your latest news. But this week, yesterday, in fact, we launched the store, the shop, and we now have overlay packs for sale there, and it's going to just continue to grow. Currently, we have 4 custom overlay packs focused on the church, fitness, and yoga industries. And we also have a multi-purpose, dope, really, really amazing overlay pack and stuff. So check them out. You can get them there. Right now, we've got an introductory offer for the next 2 weeks. It is 2 weeks, right, guys?
Yes,
I
sir.
think it's 2 weeks. 2
And
weeks.
The clock is already ticking. You got about 13 days.
That's right. You got 13 days, normally $47. Now, these aren't your normal overlay packs. These things are filled with everything that you need to do an amazing live stream. Be right back scenes, intros, countdown timers. If you have guests, if you're doing interview, Ecamm will allow you to have 4 guests plus yourself. So a 5, person layout, screen shares, every which way but Sunday. These things are awesome. So go check them out. And we're going to be doing some more videos and stuff, walking through what it is that you get with all of these overlay packs and stuff. So super excited. Head on over there and look. If you want the dopest free overlay pack as well, sign up for our email list on the homepage, and you'll get a free overlay pack that has a whole bunch of assets in there as well. Look, this thing has animation, social media share, subscribe buttons, the whole 9 yards. So am I missing anything?
No,
Yeah.
I like the way you
Yeah.
do that. That look this
hold
thing
on.
has.
One more thing.
Okay, Tim Cook.
These overlay packs include the signature LGL one-click install, which means you may be used to fiddling with your stuff. You may be used to trying to resize it and get it going. You may be trying to just always fiddle, like it's the fiddliness, essentially. Always trying to adjust it a little bit here or there. We've instituted the one-click install, the signature LGL one-click install, which means from the images, none of the stuff that you see on the webpage, this stuff isn't just like cute stuff that you can look at. This is the real deal Holyfield out here in these streets where these are legit. So this is not like a placeholder and it just potentially could look like that, but you got to build it. No, it comes standard just like that. Only thing you may change, even stuff like this and flies in and is super customized. All that stuff is ready to go out of the box. And it's just literally two steps. Editable
Absolutely.
and customizable.
All of it is editable. We've built everything in there to where you can brand it for yourself. Diana, you actually gave really, really good points that I totally left out. The most amazing features. So, yeah, boom.
100%.
One-click install and editable.
Yeah.
I just like the fact that I know she was too young to remember, but she pulled out the real deal Holyfield. Evander Holyfield is 90 years old, so I know Miss D ain't never seen him fight before.
I'll have you know I'm very well versed in old school
I see
things.
this. I see this. Now I know where you learned to get that left from.
Yeah.
But literally it's not like, we're just not like, so here's the thing also, just like to be fully transparent. Sometimes we'll invest in tools and stuff, and the way it's presented is not the way it operates. It's like 17 extra other steps to make something work out of the box. But the presentation says in 2 minutes or in a short amount of time, you're good to go. The one-click install is legit. If you have Ecamm Live open, you download your pack once you've purchased it or your bundles, and then when you click to open it, and you do the one-click install, you open that Ecamm file, it fills in all the blanks that you need to. For your interview mode, all you got to do is activate that and turn it on, which most people already do. Everything's already built, custom built, ready to go. You literally can set this stuff up today and be ready for your stream within a few minutes.
Yeah. It's legit. So, yeah.
100%. All right.
Hold on. Where's my applause? I think are y'all hearing anything from my roadcaster?
We are.
I have it.
What's funny is I can't hear it anymore. I don't know why, but it's because I'm in my AirPods.
Yeah, I was about to say you switched it.
This is why you don't use AirPods to monitor streams, people. Let it be a lesson to you.
Well, my ears were
everyone
hurt.
and everybody's hard-headed. Don't use. I know they're dope, and I know you spend $250 on them, but they're not good for monitoring live streams because there is a delay because Bluetooth.
Yeah, looky here. Now I have it on. So we're going to do a little test here. And applause.
See, this is so
DJ David Blackman.
That's why I like, if you rewind the stream and you go back to can y'all hear my roadcast? That right there, I promise you. Anytime David says, can you hear his roadcast? Something is abound. I'm glad that's all that it was, because I'm just knowing David about to pull some 1998 from the 99 to the 2000s rap. Like, have y'all heard this? And it's like,
fat boys.
It's like David gonna hit you with the good stuff, okay? Next thing you know, Warren G's coming out of Roadcaster Pro. And it's just, it's a fantastic time to be alive. That's all I can say. That's all I can say.
That's right.
Wait. Hey, guys, I just found this new guy, Domino. Here we go.
Hey, man.
All right, let me stop laughing. You guys are killing me.
Let's talk news. Let's talk news. What we got? What we got?
So today's first thing is going to be some more rumors. We're going to drop the biggest ball that you may not be aware of, and that is that Sony, not only, like you have heard potentially that Sony discontinued some of their not lenses, but well, it would include the lenses, but their A mount, which is their DSLR, so the Sony A99 and stuff like that. But Sony also has officially now, they just this week, I think it was like yesterday or so, the Sony A6500 has officially been discontinued, and you can't buy that camera new anymore, other than what's already probably out there. And that means the A6000, the A6300, and the A6500, all of the old APS-C bodies, are completely discontinued, which brings us into our first camera, which is the rumored APS-C camera that's supposed to drop in about 2 weeks. This camera is going to be the successor to the A6600, and this camera is supposed to have the same type of a body that the Sony A7C is, which is what you're seeing here, where it's basically a full frame ZV-1. If the A6600 and the ZV-1 had a baby, it would be the Sony A7C with a little action from the A7 III. But we're looking at the same kind of orientation with the flip screen to the side, which a lot of people will appreciate, big record button and similar other features. And some of this is, again, it's rumors. We don't have the full details just yet, but they're saying it's supposed to be improved in-body image stabilization, the new menu screen, new EVF and LCD, which is greatly needed. Also supposed to be improving the rolling shutter. So if you've ever been in 4K and you are going from left to right really quickly, you notice that it gets kind of slanted. That's supposed to be improved. It's also some other stuff that when it comes to like it being a 32 megapixel sensor, so more details, you'll get a richer quality image out of that sensor that's already kind of like not compromised and not crippled, and 4K 60 frames per second and 10-bit and some other stuff, but supposed to drop in about 2 weeks.
What you're telling me is that this right here is now a legacy camera?
A6500.
That's the A6500.
So I think it's more or less, even with like because the A6100 in some regions is already discontinued as well, which is very interesting. It hasn't happened to any of Sony's modern cameras that they have released, let's say within the last 2 to 3 years. They don't discontinue cameras that fast. So the fact that they are doing that now, and it's like that the fact that A6500 got discontinued now makes me think, I think we're about to see some serious heat coming in on the APS-C line. So the A6600 was the best. I think that now will move to the middle. So it'd be the A6400 that replaces essentially the A6100. And then you have the A6600 that'll become the mid-tier body. And then this new A6800 or A7000 or whatever.
So let me put something out there for everybody who wants to get A6500s, because I got asked this question 3 times this week.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever plan to take it off the tripod that's staring down the middle of YouTube, do not buy one. A6500 is a dope camera. Let's get it straight. But it predates the no recording limit sessions, right? So it has a 2959 recording limit, because it was after that model, Sony said, forget it, we'll just pay the tariffs, because obviously the EU is not going to make this go away. So if you're going to stick it on a tripod and look at it on YouTube, knock yourself out. If you plan to take it out, put it on some sticks and do work with it, no, fam, do not buy one. I don't care if it's $100, that's one thing, but don't go spend like $1,000 on the A6500, because honestly, at this point, you're better off with a ZV-1. Even though the 6500 has some features that are above and beyond the ZV-1, that recording limit is one thing that once you don't have it, you never want to see it again.
Oh,
everybody else that's used to it, they're used to it, whatever. But once I got rid of that, I'm like, I can't believe I ever lived like a heathen out in these streets with 2959
and then
changing memory cards. And yeah, it never fails when you're doing a record session like we're doing right now. But you're doing a scripted camera. Hi, today I'm Doc, and we're going to be talking about ancient Mesopotamian squid fishing. Like, you're right in the middle of your best take when the memory card. Hold on, wait a second. Like, that was never happened. So like don't run out and get it because like, oh, I can get one real cheap right now, unless you exactly know what you're doing.
100%. That's why like those 16 gigabyte like cards that used to come with the kits and 32 gigabytes. The first time like I got this 16 gigabyte card or whatever that came with the whatever kit, then it's just like it's that same kind of frustration. You are mid sentence. You are in your bag. You are in it to win it. Do you hear me? And all of a sudden, it's like seeing a battery exhausted. There's no more battery life. There's no, you know what I'm saying? And so you got to stop, figure out where you left off at, replace and, you know, or start over and all of that. So I get people that say like, well, I'm only doing 5 to 10 minute videos for YouTube. The real issue is you're only focused. Most people make decisions based on right now circumstances when they should be making decisions, especially when it comes to a camera purchase, not just for meeting your needs now, but meeting your future needs. It's like if you expect never to grow, you can go get a 4-year-old camera and it will serve you very well with whatever limitations it may have. But when you're buying right now, you're buying to satisfy your needs for now, but also preparing for the future. That's how you're supposed to purchase a camera.
There you go.
So it's a couple other specs real quick on this again, just so everybody knows. 6700, 6800 is if they keep it even numbers, then it may be like a 6800. If they decide that they want to go A7000, which was initially like the rumored number that it was supposed to have, but you know, we'll see. But 4K 60, 10-bit, which again deals with color depth and some other stuff. The 32 megapixel sensor I'm excited about. It's saying the readout is at 12 bits, 17 milliseconds, but we'll see. I'm mostly excited about the 4K 60 at unlimited recording because they haven't capped anything else. And so for me personally, I know some people may ask A7C or like the A6100 or whatever this camera may be called, like A6800, A7000. Is it worth it to wait and get the new thing or get something that's already out? The honest thing is like and some people may say, well, I'll never do it. Or I only use 1080p, 120 frames per second. Again, right now, again, it's like you are thinking about right now, but there are some scenarios, 60 frames per second is really sharp and amazingly good. You rarely need like 120 frames per second, honestly. Sometimes that's too slow. But 4K 60 is very sharp. Go ahead. Yeah.
From a financial standpoint, let's just say in
1300
Sony's realm, 1300 versus what is the 63 or 6100 or whatever, which one you said. What's the price difference of what's the price of that one?
A6100 is $700. A6400.
So you're only looking at a $600 difference to be future proofed. It's a no-brainer. When you even look at it like that, it's not just looking at the price of that new camera. And I realize it's about budgets and stuff, but if you're already at that point where you can afford the 7, do what you got to do. In my opinion, you know, future-proof yourself out. It's a no-brainer.
100%.
I think it's again, I'm always thinking about the entrepreneur, you know, that's also a content creator or vice versa. Content creator that's become an entrepreneur based on what they're doing. When you go to a live event and somebody is there that loves what you're doing or follows your work and stuff like that, it's very easy for somebody else to pick up your camera, redial in a bunch of stuff for the settings to get some slow motion or some B-roll clips for you. That happens more often than I think a lot of people realize. And so now you create a library of B-roll and content that you can repurpose for yourself. You don't have to go to Storyblocks when you say at a convention or if you're giving a talk, because you have footage of you giving a talk. The entire full length. Yeah. You can always go back and repurpose something that you said or done. That's where unlimited recording comes in handy. And the 4K 60, the higher quality, the 10 bits and stuff like that, it just makes so much sense to have your camera body have everything in it already versus, and I know they haven't mentioned this, but I'm pretty sure if it's over the A6600, it's going to have a headphone jack. And so you're looking at that 10 bit, you just X'd out a monitor, just X'd out an audio interface system that's on the hot shoe that you don't need. So you saved $1,000 with, I don't think it's more like a $600 purchase, because I don't think A ton of people will get the A6100 like that, but between like the A64 for maybe like 800, you're not looking at like that significant of enough difference. But the time that it costs you, I promise the time is more costly than the actual finances you'll put in the investment.
The minute you go out and buy a small HD or some other recording monitor in order to A, get rid of the record limit, B, in order to get that 10-bit 4K, and then C, to have a better monitoring situation, you instantly add $700 to your original purchase. So there was a point where, you know, the Sonys and Nikons were like $300-$400 more than the Canons, and everyone's like, I'm just running out and get a Canon. But then you bought accessories to make it do the features that was missing, because it was, and so, bro, you realize you just ate everything you thought you were saving, you know? So yeah, it's super solid point. And the rig becomes scary. Now, some guys were purposely building their rigs to look beefy because we did run into a situation where you're trying to explain to someone that they're paying you to come and video, and you come out with your small rig and they're expecting, you know, me to bring a shoulder mounted Sony camera. I'm like, yeah, we don't shoot that no more.
Yeah.
You know, everything this can do, everything that can do, for your purposes, right? And that was always hard to explain to people. Like, I don't need the SDI connections, the full size XLRs, all this other crazy stuff. So having a small, light, portable rig, I mean, I can flow quicker. But it used to be an issue explaining to clients why you only came out with so little bit gear. Even with DJing out of an SSD, like where's all the rest of your 100%. Stuff? It's all in the backpack, player. It's all in the backpack.
It's like it's a transition in not just the tech, but a transition in like our needs and our requirements. Because, like I said, the traveling to San Diego and then traveling to Washington. Not only to have like myself recorded and stuff like that, but like, so for example, Mitch, incredible creator, and the videographer over at Social Media Examiner, you know, he's familiar with Sony cameras, familiar with the ZV-1. He's like, you want me to get some shots and stuff for you? Cause he saw me vlog, and I'm like, yes, please. And thank you. Don't have to say anything. And then also,
that's so dope,
because the camera does well. Like, I looked back at the shots. I'm like, how much they paying you over here? I can slide you over to the team real quick. You know,
just for one rib. you know what's funny? You mentioned MSD, because when you give your camera to someone on vacation, right? Say the three of us are out, you know, we're at a conference and we get this finally together. We do this dope conference. We're speaking at Forbes Live, and so it's me, David, and Diana back there. How did they sell 800 million overlays in 6 months? And we ready? And you hand the camera to somebody, and they got us like this. Like nothing but headroom, nothing but headroom. You all had a FaceTime call with your mama. You know when you FaceTime with your mama and all you see is this? Hey, how you doing, baby?
No.
Mom, put the phone down.
Nose autofocus.
yeah. You know, so it's something dope about, again, that's one of the great things about the ZV-1. As simple as it is, if I hand it to a rando on the street and be like, can you get a picture of me and my friends or me and my old lady or whatever, you got a chance of getting something good. And so you bring up a valid point. That's so funny, because that one drives me nuts every time. Like, oh, this is such an epic picture. And what's funny is like, well, can you take one of us? Mine will be dope. And they're like, man, this picture's amazing. Are you a photographer? I'm holding a backpack, says Peak Designs, got cameras hanging on 2 rocket straps. Yeah, of course I'm a photographer, ding dong. You know, I made your vacation picture good. The picture of me and Karen, like, she looks taller than me. She's 4'11".
4'1". I'm sorry, Gary. So, but that's, you know, that's so good, because it's like letting the camera do the heavy lifting, whether it's in the hands of an experienced creator, but then that means they can go a layer deeper because they don't have to waste time. And, you know, like, we were on a schedule. We had several videos that we had to record. So in the midst of me going in and making different changes and stuff like that, like, I have excellent 4K quality, high quality, sharp, you know, videos that I can always go back to, refer back to, and have examples for, not just only in documentation of my own entrepreneurial journey, but also, you know, just like for the vlog and capturing the moments and stuff like that, or sharing clips online and just all kinds of stuff. There's so many good things, but that brings into question. This one deserves this. Panasonic GH5 Mark II was also released, and we're looking at some rumored specs for this. Actually, we'll go up to It's 43rumors.com. You can go and check this out. No Kashida is, I don't want to get too deep into the technical side of that, but usually when a camera is registered, you'll see the information that's like from it being, what kind of Wi-Fi you're going to get, like all that different stuff. So it'll come out overseas first and things like that. So that's why you're seeing some of this different language here. But that translates to a GH5 Mark II, 20.33 million pixels, 4K 60 video, 3.68 million dots for the resolution for the EVF, 120 frames per second compatibility, meaning it's going to look really good in that eyepiece. The same battery, same size, same weight, roughly anywhere from, $1,700 to maybe $2,300 if you get the kit lens. But Panasonic can't focus.
they got ADD.
It cannot autofocus.
The one time David actually get his sound effect right, bro. Right there. Come on, fam. Come with it, bro.
Perfect. But I mean, like, because I'm like, wait a minute.
Hey, I gotta help contribute somehow to this stream, damn it.
Right.
But here's the thing, though, David. But seriously, so like, David, I think your journey has been like the most amazing to watch happen from a creator standpoint, as well as from an entrepreneur standpoint that's getting into content creation, having other businesses and things like that, as even Doc and I have. But we are used to the camera stuff. You're new to the camera stuff. So let me ask you something. How important is it for you to, like, how important was the autofocus in making a decision of like what camera you got?
Oh, it was massive, huge, because it would break my head trying to figure out how to manually use a camera. I'm just not a camera guy. I am an entrepreneur. I'm busy. I've got my thing that I'm really good at: sales, marketing, business. Tackling cameras has always been very, very hard for me. It's probably one of the barriers that has kept me from producing consistent video content, because most entrepreneurs are perfectionists, and I want it to be good. And because I don't understand the photography aspect and the camera aspect well enough, it's blocked me from doing it. But because Sony is so damn good, I mean, and you guys helping me, just kind of dial it in a little bit that I need to go has been huge. I mean, it's been massive. If I had to get on something honestly, that didn't David, have that, yeah.
You could change the me to us, because you're not alone, bro. Most entrepreneurs, even those of us who are quote unquote camera oriented, one thing that will slow down your wanting to produce is having to fight with your camera. So even if you are a photo person and you know how to do it, to come in and set all these settings and do your focus and do all these things, right, it's a challenge. One thing that's dope about most modern cameras, Sony, Canon, both have it, so does Fuji, I can do a memory setting. So I could actually have a memory setting for a certain look for, say, LG-L, and a certain look for LG.L. I could actually make the looks different and store them in the camera. And that's where, having a better understanding of your cameras and stuff come into play. So you don't even have to say, I didn't want, you're us, dude. Most people, their hang up with content creation is getting stuck with the setup and takedown. So being able to just dive in and do, it's different. It's a knockoff shirt from Miss Diana's shirt. Learn and do. It's to dive in and do.
Dive in and do.
But
available.
But here's the thing.
Right. But here's the thing, though. It's like, so David, you had
Go ahead.
David had the A6500. No, I'm just thinking, like, as you're like recounting like your own experience, it's like you had the A6500 before anything else. You know what I'm saying? Prior to
it was the first one that I got. It was the first one, and it was hard. I got to tell you, it was difficult.
Yeah, and that was some of the best autofocus at the time. That Sony, they were still dialing it in, but like that one was where I think a lot of people took notice. But that's the thing. It's like you had other options. That was still when the A6500 came out. Everybody else was, singing Canon's praises and stuff like that. So it's just the evolution of taking something that was already good and great and making it excellent in a different way. It's just like why for me that I own Panasonic cameras. It wasn't that long ago. I bought a ton of them, and they are fantastic, cameras. But I mean, like, so for example, you take a look at the current prices and stuff for the GH5. You get anywhere from $1,200, $1,300, somewhere in that price range. And so everything for the most part, like still get the 4K video, 422, 10-bit, and all this extra other stuff. They'll add the 4K 60 in there, even if you get like they have the different lenses and stuff like that. But this is a lot of money for a camera that can't focus, to be honest with you. It's like, it's a lot of money.
For the same price, well, not for the same price, for a relatively similar price, if you're going to do that and not focus, you're better off to get a BMCC 4K.
Yep.
Or actually a BMCC 6K. Sorry, Ms. D. Pull the stream over. Tell the people what that is, Doc. Okay, I got it. Blackmagic Cinema camera. A Blackmagic Cinema camera 4K comes in at $1,295, right? Let's say $1,300. And a Blackmagic Cinema camera 6K comes in at $1,999, aka $2,000.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you buy the struggling focus Panasonic, which is missing a lot of the cinema features? If you buy a BMCC, now I can say it, if you buy one of those, you have a dope cinema camera. I mean, I'm still anti Micro Four Thirds after I got rid of my Olympus, just because there are limitations with such a tiny sensor, but I can see where they come into play, right? You see what I'm saying? No, the EF mount is the one that's $2,500, but the regular mount one, number 3.
Well, they got a 6K and a 6K Pro, so you can still get the you can still get the EF mount, that's 6K Super 35 sensor for $2,000. And here's the thing, they know that if they try to introduce autofocus in the way that brands like Nikon, Fuji, Canon, Sony have done, even Olympus with like the phase detection and stuff, it takes time for them to really figure it out and dial it in, because you can buy the Sony sensors all day long that has the phase detection pixels on there, which means when it comes to figuring out what should be in focus in your face and your eyeball, it can determine it like that. Whereas the Panasonic ones has to scan like the room, and it's the dumbest name I ever heard, depth from defocus. It needs to get like the depth, defocus to come back info. It is the most ridiculous. It's like it goes back and forward, and then it analyzes, and then it stops there. But when you move, then it's got to do that whole thing again, which is why you always see the warbling.
If they would stop their feud with Sony, if Sony and Panasonic would stop their feud, they could do some dope stuff. And seriously, like, Sony's cripple is always their screens, because they don't want to pay Panasonic for the licensing to flip the screen out a certain particular way, right? And Panasonic owns that. And then Sony has the best focusing in the game, which is why Nikon and a couple other people use theirs, iPhones, all of the above, like they all use these sensors. Your phone right now has a Sony sensor more than likely. So what happens is just their Japanese pride is ridiculous. Their detriment. They're worse than what's going on in DC right now. They will not get out of each other's way. But if they were to get together and like just behave themselves, they could actually do some things, because Panasonic does have some stuff in there with their colors and they just have a name that a lot of people understand, but they just get in their own way out of pure pride. It's a weird flex. That's the word I'm looking for.
In case y'all are wondering, diveinanddo.com is available. So
man, this is not WordPress stream. Focus.
Register.
Speaking of websites, did you know that Ecamm Live has overlay back? No, just kidding.
I did want to say to Glenessa's comment, because I missed it, but I just seen it right now. I do love the fact that a lot of the makers, even Canon just did it again. Sony's done it with the A7C. I love bringing back the rangefinder look. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I'm old school and I learned on the rangefinder. But I love everybody bringing back that rangefinder vintage point and shoot look. I think it's dope, actually. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, that's honestly that. Random, but yeah. Honestly, if you look at what Panasonic offers, and like a lot of, I think Fuji, Olympus, they did the best from aesthetically pleasing looking camera bodies that are like, so it's like ultimately they don't look like beautiful, But when you compare it to the other stuff out there, it's like a lot of the design is coming back from, the film era and how stuff looks, how it was designed, and just kind of retapping back into that. And so I love the gray body of the A7C, the Sony A7C. But my whole thing is like, I'm cool with the rangefinder body or what have you, but I'm more concerned like with the screen, like the details on the inside. Like the aesthetics looks cute and stuff, but nobody's walking up to me saying that's real pretty. That's a pretty camera.
No,
like,
no.
It never
Remember
happens.
Olympus? Everybody had the leather jacket, the nice little Olympus, the little chain. Like everybody's like, oh, look, I look like a 1960s photographer. And it was like, yeah, but once you take off the black and white filter, not that dope a camera.
Mm-hmm.
but the Olympus, when that joint first came out with the black and white filter and all the stuff, man, it was legit. But yeah, this is why you don't buy fancy features, because fancy features don't necessarily mean anything in real life. And Samsung, for their phones, Panasonic and Canon for their cameras, love to get people stuck on in-store features. What June and I used to explain when we were talking about stereo equipment. There's really good in-store features, and I'll show you all of them. But when you get home, they don't mean anything. You know what I mean? Right. And a lot of people have features in their phone. Like, how many times have you ever seen a person with a Samsung go to the other person with a Samsung and line their phones up like this and steal each other's charge? Never. When did you actually see that happen in real life?
Because all of them at 20% for how much they on their phone.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But everybody goes, look, my phone can steal the power from my other phone because Samsung is better than Apple. But I've never seen anybody in real life doing that, ever.
Right.
So it's a feature that was dope for the commercial and dope for the rumor boards and, people fighting online, trolls and whatnot. But you don't see real folks doing that because I don't have time to let you hold my phone for 20 minutes.
Right. And it's like when you look at it from like making purchasing decisions and things like that, it's like even I think Panasonic is like finna shoot themselves in the foot. So people ask because like you'll see like the Panasonic S5 out there, the G9, which kind of holds its own and things like that. But for streaming, it's like, again, you're not just buying a camera for right now. You're buying a camera that really can hold you very comfortably for the next 3 to 4 years and probably then some. It's just a matter of what you're trying to do. And I'm seeing a lot of people make some new decisions for a company that some that may watch this may not be familiar with, which is called Ecamm. So Ecamm also makes, and this box is like a cinema style. It's very small. Panasonic has one. Other brands are coming out with them as well. And so especially if you have to buy a screen, if you have to buy a mic mount, if you have to buy this and this, that, or whatever, I'm seeing a lot of people that are filmmakers switch brands from brands like Panasonic and whatnot and get these. Because you can get, it says again, record up to 6K, 60 frames per second. You also get the RAW and ProRes recording, which is important for photographers and stuff doing filmmaking. 14 stops of dynamic range, still a Super 35 sensor. And the app is absolutely incredible for the Ecamm cameras.
The basic box is only $1,500. The pro boxes are more. But if the box that's for a streaming studio, it's actually only 1,500 bones.
100%. That's the and it's 4K. Yeah. Here's the thing. 4K, 160 frames per second, and it still has the micro four thirds lens mount, 12-bit color support for the ProRes RAW, and you're getting so many other things with this. Like, why would you get a Panasonic camera? In a lot of I watch photographers that only do photography. I watch videographers and filmmakers, and that's all that they do. And I've seen them go from the trying this and trying that. And I think it's the illusion that autofocus works on those cameras that make them want to try Panasonic. But they if I have to manually focus, why not get 6K 60 frames per second or 4K 160 frames and like all this other stuff that comes built in, native, and ready to go. And it looks incredible. The Ecamms look absolutely incredible. So I think Panasonic's making a mistake. They just stick with this contrast detection autofocus. So like the Canon G7X Mark III uses the Sony.
Luis was talking about that.
Yeah, it uses the Sony, the Mark IV, RX100 Mark IV, which is that contrast detection autofocus, which is basically it doesn't focus well. It's like, what's the point?
The RX turned into the ZV-1. I think RXs are ghosts now.
Mm-hmm.
That's super funny.
Keith, we see you. Funny. You are not
Yeah.
unseen.
I'm
Well,
laughing at
she
Keely and
wasn't
David
showing
over
up
here in the
on the
comments.
back end for some
I
reason,
see
and
her.
I could see her here, but I couldn't see her in the green room chat, you know? She
Mm,
was the only one. It was kinda, like, weird, and because 'cause I've got both chats open, YouTube Live and the green room, and it was just
I see
kinda
her.
strange.
She's right
yep,
under Sammy talking smack. And
100%.
I see her where it says I feel unseen. Anyway, so I think the cool thing about Zcams, if you're building, say, a house of worship or something like what Fulgens guys are doing, where you're doing a gym and stuff like that, I
Hmm.
actually see a couple of Zcams mounted on the corners somewhere with lens appropriate lenses. And then because they have Ethernet connections, whatever, you could bring them into a switcher box and then switch everything and then bring that master feed into Ecamm. I actually
Hmm.
see them as good places for permanent mount cameras. Like if you're
Hmm.
building
Hmm.
Big Brother type house
You
to live
not,
stream
yep,
out of a Big Brother type house,
yes,
you know what I mean?
yep.
It's like
Right.
perfect for that kind of stuff. So I think it's funny because all of the house of worship guys are trying to buy these PTZ cameras, and
Oh, yeah.
there's one problem with PTZ cameras. There's the Sonys and a couple of the high-end companies, and
Hmm.
there's all the knockoff guys, and
Hmm.
most of the knockoff ones don't do what you want them to do. But
Right.
like the real guys, like the ones that we use in like a studio or a casino or a store for like
Hmm.
security,
Hmm.
those guys are dope. They're also like $3,000 a piece, but
Yeah, I
they
can't
can
see
tell
the
you the serial number on
functionality.
a fly's butt. Like
Yeah,
they're dope.
yeah. I mean, I can't.
But I don't see it in the church either. Like, why do I want to scan
Right.
the congregation and zoom in to Aunt Helen because she be like, Jesus.
Slain in the spirit is what she. But
You know
no,
what I'm
it's like,
saying?
but yeah, it's like honestly, I think, and I see this transition happening for a lot of entrepreneurs that are content creators, that they're going from the smaller mirrorless, like, I don't know, trying to do everything kind of camera, or at least thinking that it should do everything, to like, you know what, I'm actually not changing my setup a ton. I'm actually, I do need a stationary something that stays the same. Like, I get a dedicated space at home. And then again, like, you transition to, like you said, a faith-based organization, a church or nonprofit. They also want a stationary camera. So a mirrorless body in that respect, where the GH5s were and still is a fantastic camera in some respects, but you now have to have somebody constantly be pulling focus throughout the whole thing and following. That's really a two-person job in like the cinema space. In addition to, you got the camera feed going to the operators on the switcher. You got a ton of other stuff going on. People telling you to do this, watch for this, camera 3 coming your way, 3, 2, 1, blah, blah, blah. You got a lot of stuff going on. The last thing you want to do is focus. Like be racking focus manually while the praise team is just like jumping on stage and whatever else. That's just not logical. But I think as an entrepreneur too, it's also not logical. So my question is to both of you,
Sir.
do y'all think, because Olympus already went out of business, like they kind of, there's like, well, they sold it up, they out of business.
She gone.
They out of business. Do y'all think
Like they
Panasonic
said,
gonna
David's
survive
name
this
was she gone.
without with
Panasonic,
no autofocus?
I think what they should do is just team up with somebody else and let them take it from there. Like, I think they would be better. Look, I mean, let's not lie to anyone. Where's Minolta right now? In every one of our tripods.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They saw the writing on the wall. They saw what was going on. They saw that they did not have the pockets to finish, but they had the brain power. So what happens when you have all of the brain power, but you don't have the pockets? You call up Sony and be like, look, your first shot at an alpha camera was a piece of crap. But you guys are Sony. You're way too dope to go out like this. We want to go on vacation, so let's make a deal. And then Sony was like, Hercules. They bought everything, wiped Minolta off the face of the earth. But all of this alpha stuff, this Sony, all of this, Minolta. They just went and scooped them up, and nobody knows. Like, most people don't know. If you're a real old school camera cat, but like nobody knows. Like, all of this stuff that we use every day is all Minolta. That's where we got the Alpha series from. And then the engineers have become this B Alpha department, and now Sony makes some of the dopest cameras in the world. And they sat on that acquisition for 3 years and polished it with the Sony design and marketing. because the only reason why Minolta never took off because they had dope tech and no real design and marketing. Minolta is what Tesla is right now, the most amazing tech in the planet. But when your door frames don't line up, that doesn't polish out in the real consumer space, right? Sony's like, let's move this dial over here, move this, let's change the language, let's, make it pretty, let's make it work, then let's market the hell out of it. And then boom, Minolta lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Panasonic is a well enough established brand with deep enough pockets that they can survive. Absolutely. Just because cameras are not their only thing. And
that's their
what
problem.
A lot of people don't. What a lot of people it might be. It may be jack of all trades, master of none.
They make rice cookers. They make air filters.
Yeah, in business, you may have what's called a loss leader. Where they're making bank on other stuff, even though they're not producing greatly over here and stuff. So you just don't know. I think Panasonic is an established, well enough brand, and they probably have deep enough pockets and stuff to where they're gonna definitely make it.
I think the brand as a whole, like Panasonic as a whole, is going to be fine. But I think like this department of the business isn't working because even when they put those full frame camera bodies in people's hands, they were like, yeah, y'all did a great job. You're making good improvements. It was like, good job, but you still have work to do. And nobody's like significantly like switching. So my other question also, this is for you, David, before we transition, is like, so you have friends that are also entrepreneurs and stuff. They aren't, necessarily trying to be YouTubers or none of that. Like they literally are entrepreneurs and recognize that they need to do live streaming and they got to pick a camera. What are they picking up? Like what kind of cameras are you seeing them buy?
Oh, I think most of them are in the Sony world, most of the people that I know that are outside, I don't know as much. I feel like my gut's telling me that they're grabbing the ZV-1, that type of camera, because the 6600 that I'm looking into now and stuff is a little bit more, daunting, scary looking. So ZV-1 type kind of camera is the one. They're grabbing the point and click and something they can manage and handle and stuff without having to have a tremendous amount of knowledge and stuff. And it's going to look great out the box. Yeah,
that's good. Yeah,
So here's something that's real quick that everybody kind of need to know. But this is how these things move in the world. Panasonic is Matsushita originally, and they made a large portion of their money because they were the kind of the brains in all optical discs, CDs, DVDs, all of the above. Like they made bank there. And then, of course, as that industry was dying, they needed a thing that's a guaranteed cash flow deal. Sony has Sony's Pictures, Sony Entertainment, PlayStation, right? Those are their cash flow movers, right? Their music industry and their picture industry makes them all the money to goof off in digital imaging, right? So Panasonic now, every one of these that you have in your house that belongs to something dope is actually Panasonic because there's Sanyo cells inside. If you guys remember inner loop rechargeable batteries, those are Sanyo. Sanyo got bought out by Panasonic back in 2008 when Panasonic realized that the spinning disc media player was ghost, so they was going to lose their moneymaker. So in the electronics game, away from their appliances, which they make lots of appliances, that's where they earn their keep, is they're running the master batteries for almost everything that is rechargeable. After they went from Nikon to lithium ion, and so that's where they're making their bank. So yes, David, that's how they do it. You're correct about the loss leader thing. Okay. It's more of a it's like Volkswagen owning Bugatti. It's just to prove that we can make dope stuff. So we own Bugatti, but we don't plan on selling but like 8 Bugattis a year at $500,000.
Hey, speaking of Bugattis, let's talk about YouTube Shorts Fund, because they're giving away $100 million to creators.
True that.
Over the next year and a half, 2 years, 2021 to 2022.
Miss D is getting some of that money because her shorts are fire.
Yeah,
her and Michelle gonna be sipping Mai Tais from the beats because of their short game.
Yeah, that's right.
We're gonna be like, damn, we should have made some shorts.
If you were not into the short game yet, I know
You got
we
time.
are seeing some really, really, really good results
Miss
from
D,
the
scroll down to
shorts
the
on the
dancer
Let's
dude.
Get Live. Yeah, on the Let's Get Live brand alone, just the statistics and the stuff from a very small channel is
That's too
staggering.
far.
But if you can get, if you can get this, it's, I mean, hey.
No, he's not. There's a dude on the YouTube blog, if you see it from the phone, and he's doing the dance. And I showed it yesterday to Karen, and she was crying because it is so funny. I just think it didn't load on the full page, but he was doing his dance and it was so hilarious. But I find myself watching YouTube shorts a lot now, the way I used to consume TikTok.
You don't
So,
say. That's the thing. It's its own
you don't
thing
want
now.
to. No, you don't want to, but you can't help it because it is so short. When you get to the end, before you swipe away, oh, this one's interesting. Oh, this one's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It becomes Pastor Keith saying bye.
Mm.
When you open the short shelf, it straight up becomes okay.
Man,
I believe
you
Miss
didn't
Tina's
stun on
calling
him
me.
out here on the live stream, huh?
Yeah, I'm a stun on him because you got the Pastor Keith angle going on. But you know how Pastor Keith be saying bye for 20, 30, 40, 50, 68, 90 minutes. That's when you be trying to leave the short stream. You're like, okay, one more.
That's
okay,
when you just say, "Oh man, my wife gonna kill me," but he just keep it going. Yeah. But it's like that's the thing. It's like it's seamless content consumption. That's the difference between long form content and short form content like this. Because if you notice, the social behaviors of people are always changing, adapting, and stuff like that. So it's not always like a new feature they're just trying to copy, but they understand like we need to have this here, not because we're trying to necessarily copy what somebody else is doing, but we need to also keep your attention because your behaviors have changed. It's like always, as a kid steadily getting older and older and older, but they never get past first grade. So there's some 16-year-old kid in the first grade class, like the classes mature and the what's available and what you study is based on like your age and where you should be at mentally, I would imagine. But it's like, so when you look at and you compare that to the way YouTube is doing stuff, the entire app on your phone for YouTube is completely and totally different. My YouTube app is very different than David's, is very different than Doc's because they're customizing it.
Yeah, y'all don't got no Japanese stuff pop up on yours.
Yeah.
Here's one thing the Wagyu beef now I am.
Here's something that's really, really important.
Oh my God, she said Wagyu correctly. Oh my God, oh Miss D, I just want to hug you, but I know you might kill me. She said it correctly.
Here is something that's super important to point out, is that these shorts, this funding and stuff that they're doing, it's not only for people who's involved in the partner program, it's for anyone who creates unique short content that hits it, that gets in a lot of engagement and stuff. They're just going to reach out randomly every month. And if you can create shorts that are engaging, that get a lot of views, that get a lot of traction, you can make some money and you don't even have to be a part of the partner program. Don't know how they're paying you yet, but it's not a requirement that you need to be in the YouTube partner program and stuff.
Yeah, 100%. I'm just highlighting this here so people can see, like, again, $100 million is a lot of money. Distributed over the course of the next 2 years, anyone is eligible to participate. It's simply by just creating unique shorts. So again, you have to think about the culture and the way that people are consuming content, and for your unique targeted audiences, what are they looking for? And so it's like East Munch, we will reach out to thousands of creators whose shorts receive the most engagement and views to reward them for their contributions. So they recognize like that you're putting in work, not just for yourself and your own personal goals, but like these live streams, for example, somebody trying to figure something out about cameras, they're trying to figure out about live streaming for the business, for their channel and stuff like that. We take a snippet and we post it. It's unique content because we're wrapping it around with using a framework of how they're consuming. Go from one video to the next video in Shorts, TikTok, anything else. There's no spacers. It's video to video. They're magnetic.
Yeah.
Whereas on YouTube, and you're searching for something, you click on it, and then you have all this other stuff of options. Shorts and TikTok and Instagram Reels in that, like when you click on it, it don't work like that. There's zero spacers. Right. It's consume or skip. That's it. So either you're stopping the scroll or you're skipping.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, you
And
got
I
a
just want to
choice
give a
skip
shout
it,
out to
but
the 932nd Airlift Wing at Scott Air Force Base for visiting us today.
Today's aerial training is different. I'm trying to think of. I have to figure out the name of the jets because here it's fantastic to watch. And if you don't know, it's the sound in the background occasionally. This does a great job. I have the noise gate on, but it don't matter because these pilots out here in these streets. They go just like this. You'll see them, and then you see them go into the clouds, and they disappear. Today's training is brought to you by Let's Get Live.
the Blue Angels.
No. It's Scott. Scott is the service wing, so they do all of the service planes. So they're practicing like the refueling planes. They do the logistic delivery planes and all of that stuff.
Drives me
But yeah,
nuts.
they're the service air wing. So they got the planes that make all the rest of the planes work. So they're kind of dope. But it's just funny that they like to come and visit Miss D occasionally.
gosh.
So that sounded
It's
like
like-
one of their big carrier planes.
If anybody ever heard or saw bloopers from my videos, they are always just me sitting. And so the next thing that you need to learn, plane, and I'm just sitting there, just like, alrighty, here we go. I was like, wait for it, just like you wait for it to clear, and then you're like, all right. And so tip number 2, you want to be. I'm just gonna go have lunch. I'll come back later.
Congratulations, Keely. I think that is super amazeballs. Ms. D has been showing us some cool stuff about her stats and what's going on with her shorts and stuff too. So for all of you guys that are in the game, like I'm telling you, like it's a thing. And you are not just making shorts because they're popular. Pay attention to this again. You are adjusting according to the way consumer activity is going to adjust. Right?
Yeah.
Consumer activity is starting to adjust. So now you start adjusting your stuff that way. Trust you me, if this works, if YouTube, TikTok, Instagram stories, Facebook, all this stuff starts to work, you go to a landing page of a website right now and it's the big, beautiful, immersive image with one giant word text and it might slowly move or pan. All that's going to disappear. It's going to be a window on the side, looks like a cell phone, and then the video is going to pop up there. It was like, hi, this is Clarice. Welcome to the website. Blah, blah, blah. These are available. That's what's going to happen because it starts working when it becomes the front of websites, right?
Yeah.
So the whole hipster, really cool vintage images that show emotion and feels, less about the modeling, the look back, hold a hand on vacation stuff, that was matching consumer function. So pay attention to what the consumers are doing on the real.
And the thing is
Bob
you
Evans
may be
mashed potatoes. Sorry.
You may be watching. No, we're not going there. We're not going there because I haven't eaten yet either.
I know, man. I'm
I want
hungry.
Bob.
Be to put a DoorDash order in here. I'm like, so thanks for joining us on the stream today. If you want to be able to get you an overlay,
It's only funny because as my grandmother got older and see now, the one thing that she never lost was after church, Bob Evans. Hey, we going to Bob Evans?
And
Man.
Grandma, we're not going to Bob Evans.
Chicken fried steak, mashed potatoes and gravy,
mashed
and then
potatoes.
a massive nap right after this.
Dude, it's super funny. It's Tuesday. Hey, we go to Bob Evans? No, Grandma, it's not Sunday. Hey, any good day is a day for the Lord and Bob Evans.
Listen,
okay,
say
Grandma,
that.
we go to Bob Evans.
Say
We go to
that.
Bob Evans.
All right, I think we're good. We covered everything today.
Yep, 100%.
That's
So, I
stream
think
brought to you by Bob Evans.
this.
It's about to be brought to me by whatever's in my kitchen.
If you're looking for a dinner, go to bobevans.com. We recommend the country fried. So was it chicken fried steak? You said chicken fried steak with gravy,
fried steak.
mashed potatoes,
And
Is it-
smokra. How to get some fried okra.
Yeah, fried
Oh,
okra is that
man.
jam. I mean,
I need
like,
some okra right now.
this, and I mean, here's the thing. Once you eat that delicious dinner, you get you the itis, take you a good nap, wake up, buy you an Ecamm Live overlay from Let's Get Live/shop. You set it up, you cover the stain where the gravy dropped on your shirt. You customize that thing however you want to. You cover it up.
Always be closing, Mama D. Always be
Okay.
closing. That's
Listen.
coffee is for. Hey, put the coffee down. Coffee is for closers.
Listen, I'm saying. So going through these comments right before we wrap up today, but I mean, I think
see it
everybody
was
got
Rob's
hungry
fault.
all of a sudden.
No, it was
blame
Rob's
Rob.
fault. He did it.
It is. I
He
blame
said-
Rob. He's right.
Now
I
he's
blame
talking
Rob,
about
too.
cheese grits and stuff. Listen, Bob Evans, every time we mention your name, $100. All right, you just send us a check. So
Okay, everyone, please go in the group and send me your cheese grit recipe. I have mine. It's cheese grits with jalapenos, but I'm
Shrimp
curious
and
what
grits,
all y'all
bro.
make.
Shrimp and
I
grits.
can't eat
Life
shrimp.
changing.
I'm allergic to shrimp.
Oh, dude. Yeah. I'm sorry.
we'll pray for you. But thanks for joining us with This Week in Lives as we discuss some of the cameras that are coming out, helping you make better decisions, helping you to understand what you need to be looking for in a camera so you buy it right. Otherwise, you're going to buy it twice. Guys,
Right.
with that, with a passion, we'll see you on the next episode of This Week in Live. Peace out.
Have a great week, everybody. Peace.